that's got to be a. I mean, I think this has got to be a what 75?
75, yeah. Right, so today we've got something a bit different. We've got a nice little interview. I have not done one of these interviews since I used to do a podcast. So this is a video sort of interview. It's a chat really. So this is Jonathan from Excalibur Auctions, who's going to be auctioning off the vinyl Cape Jawa next week of the 27th, is it?
The 27th of January, yeah. That's on the Saturday, yeah.
We'll talk about the auction in a bit. Just want to talk about a bit about you. How long have you been auctioneering and how long you've been at Excalibur?
Well, Excalibur is now 8 years old. Before that, I worked for other auction houses as toy specialists for various auction houses, but just decided that I wanted to do something a bit different. Wanted an auction house that just concentrated on specialist collectibles, and that's where we try and understand what we're selling, and rather than just lumping everything together in a general auction.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking for too. This is why I do a toy YouTube channel, is because I'm in between jobs. I'm a bit more freelance than anything, really, to be honest with you. Yeah, so obviously this is the second vinyl Cape Jawa that you've auctioned.
Correct.
But did you handle the original one 6 months ago?
Yes, I did indeed. It was interesting because the guy who owns these came in because he was bringing us comics. We're a big comics auction house, as well as the toys and model railways. And he was the art director for Marvel UK in the 1970s, when all the big Marvel UK comics were coming out. And he was bringing us various pieces of artwork and preprint comics and cover sheets, printers proofs, that sort of stuff, to go through our comics auctions. And he came in this one day and he said, I found this. He said, I'm not sure, you sell toys, tell me what it is. And so he produced this, and there was a couple of other figures. There was a Sand People, and I'm trying to think a Stormtrooper. And then but they were absolutely mint on their cards. Yeah. And then this came out, and it was a vinyl Cape Jawa, and I was looking at it thinking, okay, I know there's a rare one of these. I think this is the rare one. Let's just go, before I say anything to the customer. Took it through to my office, did a little, just Googled it, made sure this was actually what I was seeing, and then realised that not only was it a vinyl Cape Jawa, but it was on a Palitoy card, on a 12B Palitoy card. And it's like, okay. Went back in, because I mean this guy he's in his 70s. So I was like, I made sure he was sitting down, because I didn't want any issues. And I said, right, okay, have you got any idea? He said, no. He said we got it in for a promotion. He said, is it worth something? And I said, well, the Stormtrooper is worth X. The Sand People, I think I said 300 to 500 for the Sand People. As an auction estimate, and then I said, right, the Jawa. Said, well, the last one of these sold for this. I think we should put it in at 10 to 15,000 and see where it goes, because they don't come up often.
Wow. And
he was like, oh, okay. So we went through the whole process of selling that one back last year, back in when it came to auction in July. We'd had it since end of May. And all the media and everything, attention around it happened, and then it sold in July. And just before it sold, he said, this is going to do well, isn't it? He said, do you know what? He said, I think I might have another one somewhere. And basically the story behind it was that Marvel UK, at the same time as the figures were being launched by Palitoy, Marvel UK were launching Star Wars Weekly as a comic.
Yeah.
So Palitoy said to Marvel, do you want a set of figures, the original 12? Do you want some sets of figures to offer us a prize in the competition? So they said, yeah, absolutely. Can we have a set to do some photography to put it in the comic?
Yeah.
So
I remember the advert. I remember the advert in the comic.
Yeah. So Palitoy, Julia said, yeah, here you go. And they sent a couple of sets over, at which point he opened what he thought were the main characters. And so the advert only has 8 in the picture.
Yeah.
And then the others he kept and they just ended up at home. In fact, the figures he opened ended up at home, but he gave those to his kids to play with.
Yeah.
And it just sat in his loft. So he ended up with 2 of these vinyl clip Jawas. So he went. He found.
So he hasn't got any more then. He's definitely just the 2.
I think that's probably pushing it.
I think I need to go in his loft.
But no, I've been in his loft since.
Oh, have you?
Yeah. I've been down to
I bet you have.
So he came back with, when he found this second one, he came back with it. And I said, look, yeah, fine. We will, of course, we will take it. I think we probably need to leave it a little bit of time before we hit the market with this second one.
Yeah.
And so then, this second one is not quite as mint and crispy as the first one.
Yeah.
I mean, we've actually got it here. So here we go. Here is the actual. So you see, the previous one still had the tag in place.
All right.
And this one, I don't know if you can see, it's just got a slight dent on the bubble there. But I mean, that's got to be I think the guy who bought the previous one had it graded at something like 85.
Wow.
And this has got to be what, 75?
75, yeah.
Maybe if you're lucky, an 80.
Can we look at the back? I'm really interested in, because there's never been a 12A Jawa found. Palitoy.
No, and I'm not convinced that a 12A Jawa exists. I mean,
Is that a B or a C? Because
it's a B.
It's a B. Yeah.
That
was one of my big questions, because we've not seen the card, we've not seen the back of the cards until now, and that if it was a 12A, then that would prove that we've exist. But we've got a 12A in something else. We've got a 12A in the sale of something else. I think we've got a 12. We've actually got 2 sand people. We've got one on a 12A and one on a 12B. Nice.
And
then Darth Vader, and
we've got a Darth.
That is the one I am looking for, but we'll see. I doubt if I'll be able to afford that. But have you got that there? Let's have a look at that one.
There we go.
Look at that.
There's a Darth Vader.
It's my birthday next month, so if anybody wants to buy me.
So there you go. There's your Darth Vader.
Yeah, that was the very first figure I ever got. So yeah, that means I probably did get it on a Star Wars card. So I need to get it. Yeah. So going into, I mean, I know you're not running the auction house at all, but you do know you have not a lot of knowledge about auctions. So they come get me prices, the valuations. Well, I mean, what do you feel about that? Is it really hard to value and try to get it? You know it's worth more than the come get me estimate.
Yeah, I always say to people, it's psychology. You're trying to get into the mindset of the bidder. Yeah. The reason it being is that when you've got a lot of experience in an auction house, I can say, all right, well, let's put the Jawa. We've put it in at 10 to 15,000.
Yeah.
I could say, well, let's put it in based on the previous one at 20 to 25,000.
Yeah.
Now, I could get one bidder at 20,000, which would be fine, all well and dandy. If I put it in at 10 to 15, I may have 3, 4, 5 people going for it. Once they've got into the bidding, they generally won't stop. They'll be pressing the bid button, and just experience tells us, even wherever it is, I can have something that I know will probably do £100, but if I put it in at £60 to £80, it will probably do £120. If I put it in at £100, it will do £100 dead, because there'll only be one person bidding on it.
Yeah.
So it gives items legs. It allows them to. And occasionally people will get a bargain, but 9 times out of 10 it'll make what it's worth.
Well, I think that's the questions. I'm only questions I'm going to ask about the auction. I'm not going to ask about valuation fees and anything like that. I'm not going to burden you with that, because I know a lot of people.
Yeah, auction houses it's fairly standard. You're paying a fair amount for what we do, for the publicity we do. I mean, the Jawa, we're paying somebody to do publicity. We're paying we're doing some advertising. It costs us to so all that is covered in the fees. I think auctions are the most transparent way of selling, because if you sell to a dealer, they're going to double their money on what they pay and what they buy from you, whereas we're very, very clear. We say, look, here's what it sells for. This is what we take as our costs, our commission, and it's the same both sides. We're basically being transparent with our profit margin.
That's it. I get asked a lot of questions, because I do live stream these auctions, and I do get asked a lot of questions about fees and things like that. So it's quite interesting to hear it from the horse's mouth, really. And
it's not cheap to run an auction house.
No.
We're talking £3,000 to £4,000 just to set up a live auction before we even start. Before the first
cheap, everybody be doing it. So you're going back to publicity there, and obviously this is publicity, I know, but I appreciate you being here. But you've obviously had the BBC with the article. I even read one this morning, and a new one this morning from America. It's gone to America. It's gone everywhere. So
I did a TV interview. Is
there anything in these articles that you think is wrong, and you want to let us know the real story? And if there's anything in these articles you want to correct, here's your platform.
Yeah, I mean, journalists are notorious for not necessarily understanding the complete story. I know you've obviously picked to pieces some of the stuff that was written at the BBC by the BBC about this. We had I had a conversation with the BBC journalist about what's trending in the toy market, and that became about that was then rehashed into some stuff about Star Wars toys and people buying them who've got it. What I basically said to the journalist was, look, the toy market works on what people of a certain age can remember. That once you get to a certain age, like some of us, I'm in my 50s.
I don't know what you mean.
Kids kids have left home. You might have a little bit more disposable income. There's quite a number of people out there who do that, and they're then trying to recreate their childhood. So at the moment, the stuff that is up and coming, obviously Star Wars has always been on the rise, but children's toys from the 70s, 80s through to the 90s. So we're starting to see quite a big uptick in the Transformers, Power Rangers, all that sort of stuff. And then what we're seeing fall away slightly is the old tin plate model railways, Hornby 00 from the 1950s. The old Matchbox and Dinky. There'll still always be collectors for them, but they're not going to be at the heights they have been, because the number of collectors who are concentrating on them is falling, and the supply coming onto the market because the people who collected them unfortunately are dying off. So it is peaks and troughs, and that's what I was trying to get across, but it didn't necessarily come across quite right in the BBC piece.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously did a video on that article, and I could spot the things that were wrong in that article. That's why I actually got it sent through from a friend, because I get the Google News alerts every morning on Toy News and things like that, and I get one of these every month. Yeah, I'm not saying that it's this auction house, but you do find it at least once a month. Well, this thing I bought for £1.50 is now worth blah blah blah. Yes, and I just thought it. I kind of dismissed it at the beginning, but I thought I'll read it anyway, and I'm glad I did, because it's probably one of the most interesting stories. Yeah, especially with the provenance of the Marvel man, and it's really. We dread the day that these journalists come back and rehash the old things about the things you find in your loft that can be worth thousands, and usually there's the Princess Diana Beanie Baby in there, and then the phone starts ringing with thousands of people who've got Princess Diana Beanie Babies, and it's like, oh really, again? I've got a Star Wars figure. It must be worth millions. The number of people we have to disappoint, we can. If I had £1 for the number of people I've had to disappoint over the years, then I'd be a millionaire. But I've never really met a rich auctioneer yet. So, well, I have, but that's a different story. So I mean, like I said, there's hundreds of these articles, but you do find the gem with this one.
Yeah, we try and make sure that the journalist understands what we're selling, but we are at their mercy when they've
got to make a story out of it. End of the day, that's their job, isn't it? To make it more interesting. So I was going to ask you what else is in the auction. We know this is quite a number of things. I've been looking at the catalogue this morning. There's quite a number of things. I'll be live streaming this auction anyway next week. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It was interesting because we got a load of other Star Wars bits and pieces in there as well. And one of the nicest ones I actually think is came in from a lady, and she was getting rid of her children's bits and pieces from the 70s, early 80s. And she said, "Oh, I think there's a few Star Wars figures in there," but she said there's certainly the vehicles. And we just picked up a box from Southeast London, brought it back, started going through it because we hadn't really looked at it in any detail, and we found not only the vehicles, but we found one of the Darth Vader cases and the figure cases. Yeah, and it still had the card inside showing what figures were available, and it was the 48, so it was around the time of the 48. Being available, still had the stickers, still had the leaflet with it that came with it. Wow. And then we started finding the figures in the box and the weapons in the box, and so we managed to put we managed to put 47 of the 48 figures together with it. Wow. It's the what is it that's missing? I think it's the snaggletooth that's missing.
But then, of course, unfortunately, as an auction house, we don't necessarily have time to put all the weapons back with the figures.
Yeah.
It just because it's so much time to work out which one goes with which. So we've put a separate lot together of 79 weapons. But I actually had somebody, he was actually taking the box to pieces very, very carefully, because the trouble with removals boxes, they've got the flaps at the bottom, and all the little weapons were tucked in the flaps and stuck to the pieces of tape that was holding the box together at the bottom, so we were having to carefully remove them from there.
What a great job you've got. I would love that. I would love
sometimes,
to do that.
Sometimes I think it's great. Other times it's like,
yeah. I mean, yeah, you do get the
not another
boxes of
power.
So anyway, back to you. Do you actually collect?
I do collect, not Star Wars. I collect. I have some corgi, some dinky. But one of my real passions is tin plate toys from Germany by a company called Technofix,
Cool.
who do a lot of wind up toys that they have like a roller coaster and cars that go round different things. So they're from like the 1950s. So I have a collection of those, and then I have various bits and pieces around our office from movie and railway armour and stuff like that. Which I see something, I like it, I buy it. So I've got over to my right here, you can't see it; it's off screen. I've got an original Thunderball UK quad movie poster sitting in a frame. And we've got various railway signs around the building and so on.
I'm not jealous at all. So when is the auction?
The auction is Saturday the 27th of January. We're live here in the room. I'm sitting on my rostrum at the moment. We're live in the room. You can come and bid live in the room. You can bid live online. You can ask for a phone bid if you'd like one, or you can leave commission bids in advance. We start at 10 a.m. in the morning. I think the Star Wars stuff is, looking around, we're about 270, which will be probably about 2.5 hours in. Yeah. So about 12:30, 1 o'clock.
And you'll be taking the auction?
I will be taking some of the auction. My wife Sarah will be doing some of the auctioneering, so we'll be switching over, because we've got 521 lots, and that's about 6 hours of talking, which is a strain for anybody.
And hopefully you'll be more enthusiastic than most auctioneers that do toys that don't know anything about toys. That's what gets me. I like an auctioneer that knows what he's selling.
Exactly. Well, it was one of the reasons I started Excalibur, because I was working with auctioneers who thought that just because they were an auctioneer they could sell anything. I was working with one auctioneer that couldn't even pronounce Hornby. Yeah, exactly. And we don't like to take ourselves too seriously. There are so many auctioneers who put their suits on, and I hope you appreciate I'm wearing my Jawa t-shirt today. They just put their suits on, and it's just dreary and it's boring, and we like to have a laugh. I love it when people come in the room, because we can have a bit of joshing with people in the room, and I'll usually get the proverbial taken out of me by members of the team. They'll start.
That's
taking
what it's about, isn't it? You well, not playing with the toys, but you're auctioning off toys.
Exactly. You can't be too serious about this. No. It was even better during. We actually quite enjoyed it during the pandemic. We were one of the few auction houses that stayed open, because we're a family business. we actually started doing our auctions from home almost immediately during lockdown.
All right.
So we turned around the lounge. I had my dogs taking out the video camera halfway through the sale. There's nothing like having people watching you sitting on the sofa as you're trying to auctioneer, and people loved it. People absolutely loved it. We had a great time.
I love it. I mean, one of the things I do on this channel is I live stream the auctions, so I'm a bit of a connoisseur on on toy auctions, and we do have a laugh. I mean, the chat, they come in the chat and we have a laugh at the expense of the auctioneer. I'll admit that. So if you do see the chat, I do apologise, but it is the way that my community is. We have a bit of a laugh, and we were watching one yesterday, and we had the right laugh with that. And we've had auctioneers come in the chat too, as well, to have a laugh. I mean, Vectis have come in into the chat, and we've you alluded earlier to Vectis upping their game because of certain toy houses. They've upped their game, and they've just changed their website and everything like that on their auction. They actually came in for feedback on their on their live stream, so we give it to them with both barrels. So we do critique. So just be careful.
I'll remember to keep an eye on it on the day.
Yeah. Nothing bad. Because I'm here because I love toys, and all my viewers are here because I love toys too. And just keep up the good work. We really hope you get the best price for this. I'm sure you will. The publicity's been amazing for this. Especially, I know it is for the Vinyl Cape Jawa, but for all the auction. And I hope your auction house goes from strength to strength, and I will help you out with that as much as I can. So thank you. I really appreciate it for this. I know you've taken time out from your day to do this, and I really, really appreciate it. So thank you very much, and good luck.
Thank you.
The interesting thing is they call it pyro processing, but it's a molten salt process. They're dissolving this thing in a molten salt, and they're doing electrochemistry on it. Why don't they call it molten salt?
Cut. If you cut it,